Hello, is this thing on?
I hope so.
Can we get some
I hope so.
exclamation points in the chat if you can hear our voices?
Yes?
I'm waiting.
All right. Hello and welcome to Bike Tompkins' 9th Annual Streets Alive Film Festival. I'm Margaret Johnson, Bike Tompkins Director. After a long, cold, lonely winter, this is the night to fill ourselves up with bike joy and inspiration for the season to come. A big thank you goes out to our generous sponsors at Finger Lakes Wealth Management. And now here's Nikki Frisky to kick off the show.
Thanks, Margaret. Hi, I'm Nikki Frisky. I'm the Associate Director at Bike Tompkins, and I'm just going to fill you in on all the people we want to give out shout outs to, what to expect this evening, and just get this party started. So, we have 95 minutes of bike content, so get ready for that. The first half is 15 minutes of local films. We have 2 local films graciously given to us. And then we're going to segue directly into the Filmed by Bike content from their Bike Love series. And then we'll have an intermission halfway through and then get right back into it with the second half of films. Additionally, I will be pulling the raffle. If you don't know about this raffle, check it out on our social media, our Instagram and Facebook. It should say ticket, but it's not a ticket. This is free. Sign up for a raffle and you can get all types of goodies. For example, we have a lovely tune-up from our friend Mason Wilson at Black Cat Cyclery. Everyone give Mason Wilson a shout out in the chat. If you know him, he's awesome. Another thing in the raffle is one of these bright and shiny hats with our logo on it. Very cool. Enough about the raffle though. So wait till the very end to hear who gets it. And last, before we start these films, so I know you're tired of hearing me talk, is a few shout outs to special people. First, I want to give a shout out to all the viewing parties that have popped up for this event. First, we have David West and the Bike Walk Tompkins Steering Committee and friends. They were supposed to put this on the side of a barn, but we have a little drizzly evening tonight, so maybe they're safely inside enjoying. Second, we have the Radical Adventure Riders Finger Lakes chapter who are posted up together. We got Mason Wilson there as well in that party, so thanks for y'all showing up. And last, we have Vicki Armstrong and friends. Vicki, who you may know, is the co-founder and the former director of Bike Walk Tompkins and the actual inspiration for this film festival. So thanks, Vicki, for showing up and showing out tonight. Second, we have Spirit of Tompkins, who provided a short documentary that you'll see momentarily. And I want to give a shout out to Beth Pallas, who's the director there at Spirit of Tompkins. We also want to give a shout out to Shira Evergreen with Uplifted Ithaca and Ithaca Murals, which is our first selection for the evening. And you're going to see folks from Southside Community Center. So shout out to Siobhan Bunch, Kayla Matos, Dr. Nia Nunn, and Mama Fern, of course. And you're going to see their beautiful community bike shop. If you haven't been to it, you should really check it out. And you're also going to see artists Egypt Hagen and Brittany Johnson and see an interview from Miss Harmony Malone. And last but not least, we're going to give a shout out to Aileen Krati from Filmed by Bike, who without her, we wouldn't be able to do this film festival. So thank you, Aileen. And now everybody sit back, relax, get your beverage, your snacks, and enjoy the film.
I guess where I first started, I don't think I ever envisioned myself coming up this way, like past the city. So I think that this was like a great opportunity to get me out of my comfort zone into like new areas. And as far as the pandemic, I don't think it feels much of a difference. I feel that, I mean, the people have generally pretty much been the same, it seems almost, and things are open and not confined. So it's been comfortable so far, just traveling and moving around and just interacting with people. Yeah, it's been amazing so far. Ithaca Murals is the one who connected us. He gave us a little tour of walls that we could possibly paint, and this was one of them. And my vision for it right away was to have a female on this wall. And talking with Caleb, I thought, well, who am I gonna, who am I gonna paint here? And to have, once I realized I had time to paint this wall, I asked him if he had any local models that would be good for this space and this project. And he asked around a couple of people, and everybody hands down said you. So
we met up at Southside. I thought, what better place to be than Southside? I knew that they wanted to do the mural under the bridge, but I didn't want to be on nobody rocks, and so I just felt Southside was the perfect place, and that's where we met.
Yeah, I just when I saw the layout of the wall, I knew it was like I envisioned a woman laying down, and so we just did it on a bench to take it, and we took a couple different positions, and we chose the top 3 that we were picking were ones where you're, kind of, I felt just even from hearing about you, I obviously didn't know you well yet, but just from the energy that I picked up on of knowing you and what Caleb said, we wanted something powerful and to, all the photos were very beautiful, but you're powerful in this community, so you need to be powerful on this wall. So to have I think the top 2 images were, kind of half sitting up where you're, and joy, you look joyful in this picture. So the open smile, even though at first I was like, oh, teeth are hard to paint. We might need a closed smile, but the pictures that I was drawn to and that I felt were better representative of your energy were of an open smile and looking out at your city. I felt tied into how you influence the community by looking out by the water, and it fits in the environment of this space too. So it's visually your eye is drawn to the center focus.
And I think it also really does depict who I am as a whole. I appreciate that I'm powerful in community, but at the core of who I am, I'm very simple. I'm really quiet the majority of the time, contrary to popular belief, y'all. I really like to be quiet a good majority of the time because I do care to listen. And so I think that the simplicity behind being able to enjoy what I'm taking in and also to still be giving at the same time is so perfect, because that's literally what I do every day. And on top of that, I love to walk by here. This is actually a regular spot that I walk by, and it's kind of funny because I had to resist for like the past month and a half to not walk past here, because I was like, I want to see it with Britt. Working with Britt, what I felt immediately was security, right? I felt that this artist is gonna represent me accurately, that I don't have to worry about questioning or asking, ma'am, are you gonna make sure that my color is right? Are you gonna make sure that I'm not too light skinned? Are you gonna make sure that all my curves are there? Are you gonna make sure that, you're actually representing what I look like? I took the time to look at their work before I even came into the space. But not only that, it's about knowing the individual and the heart of it all, right? So as an artist first, right? We are artists first. I had a level of understanding and respect for them immediately. As a woman, being a woman is hard, all right? So we had that other mutual understanding as well. But the love for her craft, that is really what drew me into them and told me that I could trust them even more. So the security of all those things is why. And not only that, but also the fact that Caleb came to me, who is someone that I deeply admire, deeply respect and trust as well. And then, community, right? It's all about community. And at the end of the day, the community would have said something if something was out of place as well, right? And fast forward, I'm walking to a Running to Places show and I'm getting all these messages about, oh my God, I saw the outline of your face, or I saw this, and I'm like, okay. And so it's just been overwhelming, but so humbling to know that my community really does see the work that I've been doing and that I've been investing my time and my heart and my love. My greatest
I give you
Gifts.
goosebumps. I get goosebumps.
I love that I give you
Yeah.
goosebumps.
Well, painting that so many people came by and expressed their love for her and for what you do, kids, adults, you know, and I've never experienced that as a muralist. So, and it's been something that I've dreamt of doing and wanted to do, but to go somewhere I've never been and to be able to pay, you know, respect to you and the community through what I love because of you doing what you love, you know. So it just means a lot to be able to combine in that way and just hopefully inspire more people to be just doing what they love.
The Spirit of Tompkins project is comprised of portraits, individuals, towns, whoever wants to sign up, people in the county. And then they're also asked on the sign-up sheet to write a sentence or two of why whatever place they chose to be photographed, why they chose that place, why it's important to them. And then I also do a short video afterwards where they speak on camera. So we have a little video of them talking about why wherever they chose to have their portrait made, why they chose that and what's important about it to them.
This is my backyard. Since I retired, it's where I live, work, and play.
The town of Ithaca got involved very early on because we were celebrating our bicentennial this year. And when we started the discussion about possibilities and taking We Are Ithaca and spinning it off to reach all the towns, we were able to start first with the town of Ithaca because I was so like, hey, we have to celebrate our bicentennial and wouldn't this be a great way?
So the Discovery Trail is also celebrating 25 years of partnership here in the community. So we have been looking for ways to celebrate with the community and also to deepen our relationships and our understanding of community pride, community aspirations, that no matter how long you've been here, there's always something new to discover.
I've been in and out of Ithaca for decades and lucky enough to be a photojournalist here in the 80s, working for the Ithaca Journal and documenting the community and its people and places. It's about seeing each other, right? And it's about people choosing places that are important to them. For example, like their kitchen or a community garden. You know, we have such a diverse and rich culture here, and people get to choose what's meaningful to them. It's not me or Rod or Beth dictating. You choose what's important to you. What's also been really fun is that some town supervisors and mayors and other people have really gotten excited about the project and gotten their entire towns together, like Freeville, for example. The mayor, got the whole town to come out for a town portrait.
And one of our inspirations is Vern Morton. Vern Morton was a photographer that worked in Groton in the late 19th century, early 20th century, and really captured people doing everyday things, and they're extraordinary photos.
Vern Morton's been an incredible inspiration. His work, he would go around and take pictures of people working and doing their daily life, and this is more of a portrait project, but very similar because it's about place, right?
The other thing that I like about the project is sometimes we don't visit our own county. So people from Dryden might not go over to Trumansburg or Enfield. So this is a chance to go to the website and learn a little bit about folks from other towns, but maybe it will also inspire them to go out and do some exploring in our own backyard, so to speak.
As someone who grew up in Newfield as a rural child, it's really a project that I think welcomes us to reimagine ourselves as a county-wide community and not just isolated to our own towns and villages.
You know, I also happen to be one of those who grew up here, and generations go back, but now I love the fact that in the town of Ithaca is the Dalai Lama's North American headquarters. I don't even think that some of the folks in the county still know that, but that's one of the photographs. So we're hoping that as people learn more about this, they'll be like, wow, that is pretty neat.
We organize teachings and meditations. So this is the main prayer shrine room.
Beautiful photographs allow the viewer to make their own interpretation. And I think that that's really important, that they can find something in the portrait that they can relate to. Another important part of the project that came out of the pandemic is the opportunity to showcase the portraits outdoors on the sides of buildings and as people are commuting to work or school. It's something that I think opens up accessibility for art projects, but particularly ones with familiar faces. And I know that when Robin took her first series of portraits, I became very emotional looking at just the familiar people that I see in the community whom I hadn't been able to interact with in a very long time.
And my intention is for it to be as democratic as possible, that people just go to the website and sign up, and anybody and everybody can and is invited, right? Everybody's invited. I can only hope that people tell other people and get their friends, and everybody feels welcome to participate and be a piece of history.
was just scrolling down the news feed on Facebook one day, and yeah, I just came across the photo, and then it, kind of like, hold on, that's me. And there was a meme at the top that says "Only in Toledo," which represents the ghetto stuff people do to make things work. Kind of upset me a bit that somebody would laugh, So I reposted it. Basically, I explained the fact that, hey, I'm only doing this because my van broke down, and I came up with a creative way to get around, to please my clients and make sure that everybody's happy. As a child, my parents made me go outside and cut lawn. And with them making me do that, I developed skill to where people actually would come up to me and ask me to come cut their lawns. And they offered to pay me. And I was intrigued by that idea, so I tried it. I cut one lawn, got paid, and I was hooked from there.
He been doing my lawn since I've been here, since he been a little boy, before he got famous.
I've tried for loans, and nah, it just ain't gonna work. I didn't have enough credit, or there's always some sort of excuse why. There is no American dream for a black man. A black person has to create their own dream. There's absolutely no way I can get you to understand. There's absolutely no way you would ever understand that. You or anyone, unless you have the experience. The drive comes from me knowing I keep doing what I'm doing, I'm gonna be exactly where I wanna be in life. I got my dream, but it's not an American dream. It's my dream, it's Deshaun's dream, it's Lake Lawn's dream.
Dear bike industry professionals, my name is Aisha McGowan, and I'm an elite road racer and cycling activist. You may know me from my mission to become the first African-American female professional road cyclist. I've also worked in bike advocacy, getting more women and people with disabilities into riding. Diversity and representation of minorities is a hot topic in mainstream and outdoor media right now. I noticed that several cycling companies launched marketing campaigns in an attempt to embrace the idea that cyclists come from all walks of life. Unfortunately, the content created rarely included any folks that looked like me. I have been riding bikes as an adult for 12 years. When I first started riding, I was looking for Black women to look up to. And there have been a few Black women that have actually gone pro, but none of them were African American women. At the time, the competitive cycling industry was pretty much all white men, and all the advertisements and all the videos and all the things that were being created. So simply existing as a Black woman in this sport is its own form of advocacy. My situation is actually pretty unique in that I am a sponsored athlete, but I haven't been able to find a team. I've been on local, smaller teams, but never a pro team. That's the goal. Most pro athletes are on a team and usually have people who know what's going on and can give you expert opinions and help set you up.
Hi.
I have Emoji the dog. He's there for moral support and cuddles. And Will, my husband, is there for everything else. I've done a lot of winging it over the years, but I don't regret racing by myself. I've created this lane because of my advocacy and my racing. I think it's the combination that makes me a valuable asset. It's a lot harder to speak out when you're on a team, and might be to my detriment for teams to want to hire me because I am outspoken. I definitely define success as getting a pro contract. But if the choices are race solo or don't race at all, I'm gonna race.
Camera's ready, here we go!
There's a bunch of cyclists now just riding. They don't care about anything else.
Aisha McGowan finishing strong.
But the cycling and the training is just as important as her advocacy. I don't think she would sacrifice one for the other.
I wanted to build this community where everybody can participate. That means diversity in cultures, diversity in races, diversity in cycling disciplines. A Quick Brown Fox started as just a blog that I was using to catalog my journey into becoming a professional athlete, and sort of morphed into this platform where not only do I get to tell my story, but allowing other women of color to tell their stories. The whole idea is that we're all just riding bikes and enjoying bikes and setting individual goals because they're all important. I'm trying to empower people to feel more comfortable trying new things.
Hey, so today I'm going to teach you how to ride the road. I'm going to be redoing the bar tape on these bars. This video, I'm going to show you how I fix a flat. Be unboxing the Feedback Sports Omnium Portable Resistance String.
I think if I can show those examples, then it can go a long way to having someone see themselves in the sport.
This is upside down.
But I'm one person, and I cannot possibly represent all Black people, and I'm not trying to. I'm trying to broadcast a signal to say, hey, there are a lot of people out here that need to be represented. Maybe we can do something about that. And one of my biggest messages is go find them.
There's a lot of things changing so rapidly, and cycling is doing its best to keep up. The companies are hiring people now that want diversity, they want this equality that people are longing for. I'm really proud of Aisha, for everything that she stands for and her willingness to put herself out there. For her to be constantly knocking down barriers is pretty amazing.
One of my big goals this year is to not see myself as different in the races. I've been training and preparing, and I'm ready to see what it can do. I understand the importance of showing up. I understand the importance of being a woman of color in a peloton filled with mostly white women. And I think that's why representation is so important, because if you have that example, it's much easier to do it. We have to start somewhere. I'm knocking down the door, and then someone else is gonna come in and destroy all the things. And that's gonna really inspire people. I know that there's more out there, and I'm hoping that it finds its way into bike racing.
I've always wanted to be like part of something and part of like a bigger group. I feel like kind of that with Night Riders. It's like a little family.
On the commute to work, I'm like riding down Granville Street, passing all these people sardined in the bus, looking so miserable. Even if it's raining, I'm still having a blast, right? I'm happy, I'm smiling, get fresh air. It's so much more free and liberating to just, know your city that way.
Most other cities, you ride your bike in the city and it's just that endless urban playground. Here, you can immediately find yourself in some of the most beautiful forests. And the next minute you can be right back downtown.
You get told for your whole life, growing up, you can't do that thing that you love doing because you can't do that. And if everyone listened to that, we'd have no sweet things in the world, 100%. So like when people are like, you can't ride a track bike around in the streets because it has no brakes, I'm like, well, I'm gonna do that. And now watch.
I mean, the beautiful thing about the track bike is it is so simple. There's not much to it. Wheels, chain, crankset, handlebars, frame, seat. That's about it.
There's definitely a flow. You adapt a different style of riding. You don't have the ability to just like stop and go with the squeeze of a brake. You have to be super alert. You have to have that extra sense.
You can't just be off in your head thinking about other shit. You have to be there in the moment and be like super present.
The better you get at that flow, the less slowing and speeding up you have to do, and you just keep this consistent, almost like river-like flow through the city, right?
Everything that I'm doing on my feet is just what I want to show or do, right? If it encourages somebody out there to get on a bike and explore their city or their environment or meet other like-minded people, then I think that's a good thing. That's kind of what MASH did for me. They got me out of my routine or whatever, right? And I met some great friends throughout the world.
The freedom I experienced with bicycles, it gave me a sense of calm and peace, just pure enjoyment. I wanted to continue to share that because I loved it so much. I was riding up Denman Street and two guys just yelled at me on the side of the road, "Come to Canada Place at 8 o'clock.
When I moved here, I had my bikes and I wanted to get connected with the riding community. Jamie, my super champion, suggested that I go check out Convention Center at Tuesdays at 8 o'clock.
That was it. Someone just yelled at me. The next day I went out. I think it was the second ride that they had ever done. Still, some of my favorite rides are because of that first year. It made me appreciate Vancouver in a completely different way.
In the beginning, it was about like me getting faster and faster because I was like, holy fuck, these guys rip. Now over the years, obviously it's been 8 years, Night Riders is just like a family of people that share the same commonality. It's just riding a track bike together. It's like what I love about Vancouver.
You find something that you like and then you follow it.
It's been my grounding. Bicycle is my church. It's my release. It's my therapy. It's been the one thing that I knew would always be there, you know, through hard times at work, hard times with relationships. The bicycle will always be there as long as your legs will push it. I don't know, I get butterflies almost. It's not really an excited butterfly, it's more like a nervous butterfly. It doesn't matter if it's been 1 month or 6 years riding with Night Riders. Every week it's like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can hang. I don't know if I'm gonna get dropped. I'm nervous. And then as soon as we start rolling at 8 o'clock, all that goes away and it's on.
Really alienated from the mainstream cycling industry. The things that are promoted and the images that we see from cycling hide so much of the beauty and the potential for the bicycle. So much of it's about going really fast or, you know, wearing a certain set of clothes or riding, you know, fancy carbon fiber bikes. But for me, cycling doesn't have to be something exclusive for men in Lycra. It can be much more sort of gentle and people getting home from work. It can be people picking up their groceries or people going on a quiet camping trip somewhere. I have so much more ambition for the bike than macho racing. So I grew up in really rural Herefordshire. I always felt quite enclosed and trapped. I could see the Black Mountains from my bedroom window. And my dad was a sailor, and he would send postcards to me from Egypt or Singapore or Venezuela or wherever. And I would look out over the Black Mountains and sort of imagine all the places where I could go and what I would do and where I would be, where I could escape to. And bikes were the vehicle for that from an early age. I became really interested in how bikes worked, and then one thing led to another, and I fell further and further down the rabbit hole until it was the point where I just had to make them. You know, I had to like build the thing. Bikes really change how a community feels compared to if you just drive through it in a car. Anyone can get a bike, you know, they're available, like bike co-ops all around the country can help people pick up a bike for next to nothing or for totally free. In a car you're so sort of separated and you're making noise and danger and pollution for everyone at every place where you pass through. But when you're on a bike, you can wave to your mates when you see them as you go past. You can stop and pull up at any moment and buy something from that little corner shop rather than, you know, the big out-of-town supermarket with the easy car parking. Bikes change that relationship with where you live and where you are. There was a point where I decided I really needed to make a commitment. I needed to make the leap into doing it full time and making a real business from it. It was not something that I wanted to make a half-assed job of. Like I wanted to build bikes. I wanted to make them really good bikes that a lot of people were going to really enjoy. That was something that I had to do rather than just sort of pottering around being a bike mechanic for the next 15 years. Clandestine started out as the Clandestine Clunker Club, and the idea was that I wanted to build loads of coaster brakes, old school mountain bike clunkers. But then the Groucho Marx thing came to me about I would never want to be a member of any club that would have someone like me as a member, and that really resonates. For me, cycling is a really personal, a kind of introspective kind of thing. It's a way for me to escape and to sort out my own head and have peace and quiet and disappear for a while. And I don't necessarily want a load of club members to do that with. I feel with frame building there aren't that many like routes into the craft anymore. There's not much opportunities for people to be apprentices for other frame builders. A big milestone for Clandestine was when another local Bristol frame builder, Robin Mather, gave me his old frame jig. It was a real moment where it felt like he was like passing on the torch to me. And even now I spend a whole lot of time thinking, what would Robin do? Like, would this be good enough for Robin to like justify that gift that I still use every day now? Another big milestone was the first Bespokes I attended, and the touring bike that I showed won the Bike Radar Award for a sort of load carrying bike. And that was a little moment. It was like, oh, maybe I'm not totally shit at this, like maybe I can do this. Then I was asked to build a bike for Grinduro up in Scotland, which was a real honour to be asked alongside a load of other custom builders to be able to like demonstrate a bike that showed the breadth of builds that you can get for riding that kind of stuff. It was a real honour to be invited to that. My bikes in a lot of ways are a reaction to the way other people build bikes. They don't have fancy paint jobs, they don't have carbon fibre forks or smoothed out fillets. I leave my fillets raw and unfiled. I want to be truthful to the process. I want people to be able to see the edges and see all the brass that I've added to the joint. I want them to be honest. I want to keep building beautiful bikes that fit people and fit into their lives. People can go touring everywhere from down the road to their local shop to all around the world, integrating all the components and making people really stoked on their bikes. I want to keep doing that for decades to come. My name is Pi Manson. I run Clandestine and I build custom bikes and components.
I hadn't even cycled for 6 months. They've announced the World Championships in Rio, and I'm telling the coach he's going to be inviting me to go to the World Championship. They're like, who the fuck's this guy? So when I was 15, I hyperextended my knee playing rugby. The operation went wrong. The drill slipped while they were drilling through the back of my knee. And then I ended up with irreversible damage. I think they just want somebody that's mouldable, and maybe I'm not mouldable. I don't think anybody outside of the Paralympic program has ever been selected to the Paralympic Games. I don't see why I can't be the first. After the first World Championships, I've lived a very distanced life from them. That's not necessarily one of my goals now, is to be a part of the programme. What I want to be a part of is the Paralympics, and for the rest of the time, I'll do me.
Prior to Alexi Graywall's gold medal at the 1984 Los Angeles Olympics, nobody had ever seen spandex before. Riders in the Tour de France from 1903 all the way through 1984 wore wool with an actual deerskin chamois in their crotch, which absorbed sweat and gave them a little padding. And then Alexi Graywall won the 1984 Olympics and introduced cycling to America. 1984, I was working in a bike shop, and everybody came in the next day for spandex.
Can't believe it. I can't believe it. It's incredible.
My name is Ali Salim. I'm a storyteller and filmmaker, and this is how spandex cycling shorts shaped my artistic integrity. We couldn't keep it on the shelves. Everybody wanted to wear it for every reason. There were people who didn't ride, people who just got the bug watching this guy, Alexi Graywall, win this sport they'd kind of never heard of, right? And unfortunately, I worked at Grand Performance on Grand Avenue in St. Paul, which was one of the few racing shops around. And so these people who'd never thought about this sport were coming in and dropping real coin on bikes that I didn't know if they would ever ride. From Europe, Italy, France, we would get these frames and then you'd fit somebody for a frame and then you would build this bike, carbon fiber and miracle material. And then what you would do is go through the bike by removing it from non-stress points that were hand-stitched. Sew up rims, the derailleurs front and rear. It's called a gruppo in Italian. And so then some guy would have all this post-manufacturer's machinery done on it, and he was spending $10,000 on a bike. And he's obsessed with making that bike lighter. And I'm thinking, you know, for a little bit of work, or get that bike and start pedaling, and you're going to lose 15 pounds. He would come in and say, I read an article in an obscure bicycling magazine from Eastern Europe that talks about this new spoke nipple. The bike would just sit there at the shop, and he'd want more weight taken off of it, more weight, until this one day this guy said to me, what's the best bike out there? Because I know what he wanted me to say. He wanted me to say yours. And I just couldn't say it, even though he was paying the shop all this money. And I was such a lippy 22-year-old. I said, the one that's ridden, meaning pay us, take it home, and go ride that inner tube out of existence. The best bike is the bike that's ridden. And an artist is somebody who makes art. Alexei Graywall didn't win the 1984 Olympics because he wore spandex. He won the Olympics because he rode his bike.
Hey everyone, it's Nikki here. If you can hear my voice, put an exclamation mark in the chat. And if you don't know how to open up the live chat, look at YouTube, look at the bottom or the side, and it should say live chat. Click on it and type some words in there. Let's get some banter going. Let's see. Vicky Armstrong, I know you're listening. What's your favorite film so far? And everybody else, you can chime in with your favorite film as well. Seen a lot of exclamation marks. Margaret, is that a question to me? What's my favorite so far? I think my favorite film had to have been the first one from the Bike Love series with the gentleman, Deshaun, with his lawnmower. I love the ingenuity. He reminds me of folks from my hometown of Thomasville, Georgia. John Goldman, you love all of them in their own way. Grace, what do you think about taking one of these single speeds up, or preferably down one of these hills? Let's think Buffalo Street, perhaps? Nathan, I can think wool pants recycling only works in Ithaca winter, perhaps. Mar Finger Lakes, what's up? Yeah, my house really loved the animated one. And of course, Aisha. So badass. Oh my gosh. Yeah, can't say I super love the crotch shots, but you know, it is what it is. What is everybody's thoughts about doing another film festival outside together, maybe in August? Oh, hey, Pop. Cove Arts Photography is in the chat. Joshua Israelson. Yo, Vicky, what you need? Well, folks, it was really lovely chatting. We're about to head back into some more films.
Warm Showers Foundation is a community of touring cyclists and hosts from around the globe. Whether you are planning a cycling tour or want to open your doors and hearts to cyclists during their journey, this is the place for you. Visit warmshowers.org.
Tara Gundrum, born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri. I left St. Louis right out of high school, went into the Marine Corps. That was my goal. Like, I had to be a Marine. So it's the best time of my life. Really, really helped shape me into the person that I am today. I reside here in Wisconsin with my husband and my 2 daughters. I've been married for 20 years now. I have a daughter in college and a daughter in high school. I love cycling. I love playing hockey, hiking, love playing with my dog, hunting, that's a big thing for me, fishing, anything outdoors, like that's me, that's who I am. Cycling found me when I was about 34 years old. I started doing triathlon, right? So I had a friend who said, hey, there's a junior triathlon or a mini triathlon at the YMCA. You should check it out. So I checked it out. I really enjoyed it. I wasn't the best swimmer, wasn't the best runner, but biking is something that I really, really enjoy. So I would do cycling just for the sport, just for the training of it. And then even after I had a big knee injury, I continued to cycle for the therapy. And I mean, cycling is just good year round. I love it. It's good for everything. Basically, I started out right here with Extreme Ski and Bike. So Extreme Ski and Bike has a mountain bike team, they have a racing criterium team, and then an endurance team. So I started out on the extreme endurance team, and that was kind of how I got into the long range triathlon and things like that. Cycling has taught me that I am I'm more capable of some things than I really truly think that I am. Hills, oh man, hills have really caused me to dig deep and just find like extra motivation and extra energy to kind of get through. And you know, you hit headwinds, you hit all sorts of crazy things that you have to overcome, and really in those moments of overcoming those things, it translates to my life. Like when I'm going through the suck, you know, if I'm going through something tough, you know, whether it's family, relationships, job, anything like that, I can really relate, and I can kind of reflect, and I can find that balance and not give up. So cycling has really translated into my life that way. When I started cycling, it was kind of like a worry about what's next. So I wish that when I started cycling, I wasn't so worried about the future, that I just focused on the now. Because I think that that would have been much, much more enjoyable. Embrace every moment for what it is and really don't worry about anything else. It's kind of like something I really truly believe in is don't worry about tomorrow, like focus on today. So that's like what I know now. I wish I would have just focused on the moment and let God worry about everything else and just kind of live in the moment. My greatest cycling challenges and obstacles really truly all have to do with hills, right? So, I mean, when I did an event called the Horrible Hilly 100s, that is in the kind of northern Madison area here in Wisconsin, and the name itself is just like crazy. So you can imagine that it was challenging. And that day, it rained, it snowed or hailed, it was windy, and the hills were absolutely horrible. I mean, that is one event where its name stood up to it like the test of time. And so I remember getting to a hill that I couldn't quite get up, and I was doing like these like switchbacks, like trying to get up this hill. And when I got to the finish line, I was on another hill. I didn't realize I was on the finish line. I just realized I couldn't get up this hill. So I got off my bike and I started pushing my bike up the hill. And this lady like totally stopped me, and she's like, what are you doing? She's yelling at me, and she's like, you came all this way. There's no way you're gonna push your bike up that hill. You're gonna get on it and you're gonna pedal up that hill. So she held my bike while I got on the seat, got locked in the clips, and she pushed me probably like a good 10 feet or so, and until I could get going. And then before you know it, I was pedaling. So with the help of a bystander who I totally love, like if I saw her, I'd give her a hug today. She allowed me to finish something, and that right there taught me never ever to quit no matter what. Get to the end, even if you have to like super dig deep, and even if you need a little help, it's cool. So I accomplished that with the help of community, and it meant the world to me. Cycling has really gave me just like a restored faith in humanity. I went on my very first tour during a pandemic. So in May of this year, I went on a tour from the top, the northern Harbor Springs area of Michigan, all the way down to Ludington. And I did it by myself, 100%. And the challenge, or the unexpected place, was that I was encountering people that I never would have encountered. I stayed at Warm Showers as a guest. So there's this site called Warm Showers where these are complete strangers that are opening their doors to you. And, you know, there has to be some trust, there has to be some faith, but like otherwise I would have been kind of on my own in the middle of nowhere. So I kind of allowed myself to be vulnerable and to smartly like make the best decisions that I can with strangers. And I was able to get through the most wonderful trip. I mean, strangers helped me fix my bike, repair a flat. They gave me recommendations of bike shops, you know, anytime that I needed help. They wanted to see me succeed, and I learned so much from them. And honestly, as a Black woman traveling through Michigan by myself during a pandemic, I wasn't so sure, but I had faith in God, and I had faith in the fact that the people wanted to really see me do well. I was able to have the best time. So that is something that I never would have done without cycling. I don't think that I ever would have stayed at a stranger's house, or on a couple of occasions I had to take a ride from a stranger because my bike had malfunctioned in some sort of way. It's just a different mindset. And now I think I'm more faithful because of that. Don't get me wrong, I'm truly aware of my surroundings, but I think I just have a little bit more faith in humanity. And bicycling totally did. That's what I do. Find your possible is a mantra of mine. Like, I use it all the time. And what that means is there's going to be a lot of things in life that you might want to do, or one might aspire to try, but they don't feel confident. They don't feel like that they're capable of doing it. Maybe they don't feel like they belong in that realm. But find your possible is like, no, if you want to do something, you can do it, right? You can adapt the situation to fit you and your ability. And find your possible means never give up on your dreams. It means don't ever stop doing something because you're not doing it to the level of the person next to you, or you don't fit that perfect, you know, description of someone who's doing that particular activity or chasing that particular dream. It's all about make it possible for you. Like, there's so many things I've done in my life, right? So swimming for me was so hard. I mean, anybody who knows me, they know that it took like everything to get me focused and steady in swimming. But I did it, and I did it with determination, and I did it with adapting the situation to me and making it work for me, right? I'm not the fastest, but I'm not gonna drown, right? So I will figure out how to survive and stay on top of that water. So that's an example of find your possible. For me, like, hockey is an example of find your possible. I couldn't even skate when my friend asked me to try hockey, but I said, you know what, it sounds fun and it sounds exciting, so I'm gonna give it a shot. And I mean, I had to look at YouTube videos on how to get dressed, but I was able to skate, and I love it. I love it. I can't wait for winter so I can get out and do some pond hockey. Like, that's totally my jam. And then there's so many other things, like when you get into like professionalism and jobs and things like that, you know, sometimes it's like, do I deserve a seat at this table with all these executives? Like, am I smart enough to be here? It's like, heck yeah, you're smart enough to be here. Heck yeah, you deserve a seat at that table. So work it out, do your research. Like, you still gotta work, right? But it's possible. I love finding people or coming across people who have some sort of physical challenge or disability, or sometimes even mental challenges. I've seen some folks that were blind and they were out there cycling. I've seen some folks that were extremely overweight, and now cycling has allowed them to kind of, you know, drop some weight and get moving more, and they're more excited, they're more positive and energetic about their life, and they're doing better, like, in all aspects because of that. I've seen people who use cycling as therapy. Like, I totally use cycling as therapy. I like to say that I'm burning off the crazy, because that's truly what I'm doing. I can get on my bike for hours and just like totally relax. And I just like to tell those stories because I want people to know that they have an outlet. right? And cycling can be that outlet for them. It's like such just mental clarity and strength and focus and all of that. So yeah, storytelling is amazing because I think that it truly inspires folks. One thing that I like about cycling is that I get to meet people that I normally wouldn't meet. So when I meet these interesting people along my cycling rides, I want to get their story out there because I'm now giving access to that person. You know, I'm telling their story, I'm sharing it, and I'm letting somebody else know how cycling has kind of like changed me, how cycling has allowed me to meet awesome people. And the one thing about connecting bicycle touring and meeting the people is you have to kind of be free and let it happen, right? So I'm like that bicycle tourist, that good old Wisconsin bicycle tourist, you know, pedaling down the street like, hey, like, hi, how you doing? Like, good morning, you know, and you're opening the opportunity to be engaging, and that's when the magic happens. Like, that's totally what I love. I think the biggest bike touring misconception is that you have to be fast, right? So you don't have to be fast. And the other misconception is you have to go super far. Like, I hear some bicycle tourists that go 100 miles a day. And for me, I'm like, no way. Like, if that was literally the standard, I'm not bicycle touring, right? It's just not gonna happen. So I'm more of a, you know, 50, 60 mile a day kind of gal, because I like to stop and smell the roses. And I'm more of like a 10 to 13 mile an hour kind of gal, depending on the terrain, you know? So it's like, no, you don't have to go 100 miles a day. No, you don't have to go 18, 20 miles an hour. You really are touring, so you should be enjoying the areas that you're passing through. You should be talking to the people that are in the communities. I mean, because otherwise, get in a car. So this is a super amazing story, all right? This was my first year cycling, and I was doing my very first century ride. And this was in Newburgh, Wisconsin, through something, the Women's Century. And so I left at maybe 7 o'clock that morning, but the bike ride itself, the event had multiple distances. So it was like 100 miles, and then maybe like the 70 milers left a little later, and then it was like 45, and then maybe 15 or something. So at any rate, I tell that story because when I was coming back, there were some other members of the event, and they were there. And it was all of these black women in the middle of Newburgh, Wisconsin. Like, I literally was the only black girl in the middle of Newburgh, Wisconsin, right? So to see this, I was like, whoa. And then they were super crazy excited. They were clapping, they were screaming. They had on like these black girl do bike kits and everything. And they're like, you go, sister, whoa, they're screaming. And I'm like, whoa, hi, like, who are these crazy women? And this one lady, Denise, she said, oh my gosh, we heard that a sister was out there doing a century ride, and we had to stay and say hi and give our support. And from that day, like, I just fell in love with Black Girls Do Bike. I'm like, these women are out here, they are cycling, like some of them just started cycling, and some of them have been doing it for a while. But they are awesome examples in their community. They are a team, right? They're a group of women who want to see the other women in the group succeed and do well, and they want to share their experiences with them. They really, truly want to support anyone getting out and getting on their bikes and just enjoying this wonderful bike community. So when I came upon that group of ladies, I mean, I was like, wow, this isn't your average bicycle club. This is like truly a community, and it really got me excited. So like, I love it, y'all. Like, keep it up, keep supporting, keep screaming, because I heard you from like a half mile away.
Ça s'appelle Vélocipède, le grand vélo. Je suis devenu un membre du Penny Farthing Club. J'ai la passion pour toutes les choses qui sont extravagantes. Et ça, c'est sûrement très extravagant. C'est une expérience.
So hello, I'm Neil Norton. I'm the founder of the Penny Farthing Club. We help train people how to ride the penny farthing, the iconic bike from the 19th century. We have a great time in modern London and the UK because obviously people don't see these bikes very often. What we like to do is ride around. We do races, international races, and also uniquely we play polo on these penny farthing. My name is Alan Price. I flew helicopters for 43 years. I'm now retired. When I started flying helicopters, sex was safe and flying was dangerous. When I retired, it was exactly the reverse. I've been riding penny farthings for nearly 30 years, and penny farthings were pretty dangerous in the beginning. I've broken probably a dozen bones over the years, but I'd like to just point out that since I've retired from flying helicopters, I've not broken any bones on my penny farthing. You could be driving a tank and you don't have much more respect from the other motorists. Everybody gets out of your way because they're frightened you might land on their bonnet.
Et ça, c'est magnifique. Vraiment. Viva le vintage.
The human necessities, which is 3: food, clothes, and shelter. That's when I realized there's one more thing that's very important as a human, and that is freedom. Because freedom is the highest form of living. Without freedom, you're not a human. If you commit a crime, what do you get as a punishment? You get thrown in jail. In jail, you get food, clothes, and shelter. But what's the one big thing that they take you away from you is the biggest punishment: no freedom.
ஏர் போஸ்ட்டுக்கு பக்கத்தில் வேலை செஞ்சுருந்தோம். நாங்கள் மரம் வெட்டுற வேலையில் இருந்தோம். பசங்களுக்கும் கஷ்டம். அந்த நேரம் எங்கள் பெரிய பாப்பாவுக்கு ஒருத்தவங்களுக்கு உடம்பு சரியில்லாமல் ஆயிடுது. அப்படியே போனதும் பாப்பா கையை பிடிச்சி பரன்னு இழுத்துன்னு வந்து நான் அடுப்பு பற்ற வச்சிருந்த ஒரு நெருப்பு எடுத்து கையில் சூடு வச்சுட்டு இந்த கை தானே சாப்பிட்ற கை, அந்த கையில் சூடு வச்சா தன்னார எனக்கு வேலை செய்வதில்ல அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு கையில் எடுத்து சூடு வச்சிட்டாரு. அந்த நேரம் ஒரு தாயாக இருந்து ஒரு தாய்ப்பனா இருந்து அந்த நேரம் என் பொண்ணை அப்படி செய்யறத எங்களால் தடுக்க முடியல. அந்த நேரம் ரொம்ப வருத்தப்பட்டேன்.
நாங்கள் போயிட்டு காசு கேட்டோம், எங்களுக்கு காசு வாங்கி கொடுங்கண்ணா. அதுமாரி வீடுலாம் சேவரெலாம் உயிர்ந்துச்சு, வீடுலாம் மொத்தம் ஈரமாக இருக்குது, நாங்கள் நல்லா மண் ஓட்டி நல்லா பெரிய வீடாக கட்டிக்கலாம்னு ஆசைப்படுறோம் அப்படின்னு. சரி எங்கள் அண்ணன் 10,000 வாங்கி கொடுத்தாங்க. அந்த 10,000 வந்து நல்லா 5 டிராக்டரி மண் ஓட்டி மோடி ஏற்றி நல்லா சேவரெலாம் பெருசாக வச்சு நல்லா வீடு ஓலை வீடு தான் கட்டினோம். கட்டிட்டு அந்த வீட்டில் கூட பண்ணலை. நாங்கள் நேராக வேலைக்கே போயிட்டோம். கட்டினீங்களா இல்லையா, வீடு கட்டினீங்களா, வீடு கட்டிட்டுனா சரி கிளம்பாங்க வேலை செய்யணும் அப்படின்ட்டு. நைட் 2 மணிக்கு எழுந்து செங்க எல்லாரும் தோறதுக்கே 10-11 ஆகும். ஆயிருங்க எல்லாம் இருக்கிறதுக்கு. குழந்தை சின்ன குழந்தை என் பொண்ணு 6 மாதத்து குழந்தை நினைக்கிறேன். 6 மாதத்து குழந்தை வச்சுக்கின்னு கல்லாக இருந்தோம்.
My name is Naresh Kumar. I'm an engineer by profession. In 2019, I wanted to go on my biggest adventure yet. Cycling from India to Germany on a tandem bicycle named Kindness. During the ride, I will invite strangers and friends to take up the rear seat and pedal for a cause. I want to inform the people I meet about human trafficking and the desperate need to take action. It is my hope to raise awareness and collect enough funds to rescue families in India from modern-day slavery. In 2014, when I was in Nepal, an elderly looking man approached me asking where I'm staying, which hotel, and what kind of age group of girls that I'm looking for. He was talking like it was like a pizza delivery, Tell them which hotel, I'll bring them, and then I can take them back when you're done. So it really hurts you, when you experience something like that where a human is sold as a product, as a goods, and used and thrown away and exploited. So that became the starting point for my journey. So 12 different countries. Kilometers will be about just over 8,500 kilometers. I started in Chennai, through Bangalore. I went to Bombay, tried hard to get a visa and see if I could ride through Pakistan. And because of time and bureaucracy, that didn't really work out immediately. So I flew to Oman. And from Muscat, I rode into Dubai. And in Sharjah, I took a ferry to Iran, Bandar Abbas, across the Gulf of Persia, into Tehran, Tabriz, and then into the border of Turkey. Then I cycled across Turkey into Greece, then Bulgaria, Serbia, Slovakia, Hungary, Austria, Czech Republic, and then Germany. Typical day on the road. So you wake up with the sun and plan your route. Usually I go on an average about 100 to 130 kilometers. If you're camping somewhere, you try to leave as early as possible. But if you're in a hostel or a small hotel, eat up all the free breakfast that is provided in the hotel to load up all the calories. Shower, pack your bag, and then pretty much hit the road with no agenda, as long as you know where your destination is going to be. If I see a cafe or any place, I'll go fill my water bottle, but also I'll get to talk to people. Most of the stops happen because of people, because they're all curious. When they see a guy riding a tandem bike fully loaded, right? With panniers, tent in the front and everything. But there is a seat that's empty in the back. They just want to know why. Ask, what happened? Why is the seat empty? Or where's your girlfriend? Where's your wife? What happened to your friend? Did you guys fight? So they want to know. So curiosity is the key.
That's awesome. 175.
Yeah.
175.
And you just ask them, hey, would you like to go on this adventure with me? Any distance, doesn't matter. 100 meters, 1 kilometer, 40 kilometers, whatever. But if you have time, I would love for you to join me and be a part of this expedition. Day 5 is going strong. I have Michael with me. Hi, Michael.
Hi. It's Vachibud. It's your name.
Naresh.
Naresh.
He's Hussein.
Naresh,
Thank you so much. I know it takes a lot of curiosity to stop over to talk to a stranger, but you also stepped out and you're pedaling. Again, for a great cause, to end slavery now. So, really thankful for you and your family. Pratik jumped on the bike and he's also supporting to end slavery. Thank you, Pratik.
Thank you.
How are you finding it?
Yes, very good.
There are people who cannot cycle, but they would just stop you, and when you tell them about the cost, there are people who have handed over money. Like, coming into Vienna, I met this guy in a corner of the street, and he was just curious. So I just stopped and I told him what I did. He didn't cycle with me, but he immediately opened his wallet and gave 10 euros. And he said, this is for the cost. And it's not always in terms of just money. There are so many people who refuse to take money from me in a restaurant after you eat a good meal, in a hostel when you sleep, when you're pushing your bike the next day, when you go to pay. They're like, no, no, no. This is our small contribution for your cause.
ஏன்னா என் பொண்ணுக்கு என் பால் குச்சி வளர்த்தத முக்கியமாக அதிகமாக நீஸ் தண்ணி தான் கொடுத்து வளர்த்தோம். இப்போ என் பொண்ணு எப்படி இருக்கான்னா 2 வயசு ஆகி கூட என் பொண்ணு நடக்கலை. ஓனர் பார்ப்பார், என்னம்மா பண்ணிடுற, கல்லாக இருக்காத, மண் கொட்டிக்கிறாங்க, கல் காயுது, என்னதான் வேலை செய்கிற கல்லாருண்ணா, குழந்தைக்கு பால் கொடுத்துங்கண்ணா, குழந்தைக்கு பால் கொடுப்பேன், விட்டு கல்லாரு. ஓனர் அதிகமாக மிரட்டார் சார். இப்போ எல்லாம் சொன்ன மாரி தான் எங்கள் ஓனரும் ஒழுங்காக வேலை செய்யலாம், ஜேசிபியாக தந்து உங்களுக்கு 10 பேர் அப்படியே கச்சான்னு ஏற்றிட்டு எங்கள் கையிலே பக்கத்துலேயே பழம் நோண்டி போச்சுறேன், இல்லைன்னா மீன் கொட்டுறதுக்கு போகிற அந்த மீன் கொட்டில் தூக்கி போட்டுருவோம், மீனுக்கு இறையாக்கிடுவோம் உங்களை அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவார். அந்த ஓனர் கட்ட பஞ்சாயத்துலாம் போகிறான். ஏன்னா நாங்களே பார்த்துட்டோம், நிறைய பேர் காரு பைக்லாம் எடுத்துன்னு நிறுத்தினாங்க, பெரிய பெரிய ஆளுங்க நாங்கள் பார்க்கறதுக்கு. அவங்களால முடியாத வேலை எங்கள் ஓனர் தான் கூப்பிட்டு போவாங்க, நாங்கள் பார்த்துக்குறோம். அந்த மாதிரி ரவுடி அவர் சொல்லுவார், பயன்படுனார்.
The sad part is almost 70 to 80% of the people who are in traffic conditions are women and children, who are the most vulnerable in any community. So the numbers are really staggering, right? I mean, we are in the 21st century where we are talking about slavery these days. We don't see them with chains around their neck getting beaten up, but it's even more worse now. They are exploited for various reasons. And so yeah, that's what we are trying to fight these days.
Hello.
Hey Ali, how are you?
Oh, thank you. It was really nice meeting you here.
Lovely to meet you.
Yeah, you too.
Ali was going in his friend's car who was behind.
Yeah.
And he saw me pedaling and he wanted to know what, and here he is. Welcome to Iran. And I already have my first passenger. Amin. How are you?
Thank you.
I'm in Tehran, and the person who is responsible for getting me to Tehran, my friend Bardia is here. Hey Bardia.
Hey.
You're our first passenger in Turkey.
Hi, Naresh.
How are you?
Thank you. How are you too?
Yeah, tired, yeah. Merhaba. Here I am with Dushan in Serbia. Just rolled into Niš and the first question he said was, "Where did you come from?" All the countries that I go through, I draw the route and also I keep a journal about where I started, where I finished, some highlights of the day. And along the way, when I meet some people, I will put this map in front of them and I would just ask them, as a memory, can you just sign something for me? So I have about 8 different maps in the bag, and it's full of signatures in so many languages. Persian, Turkish, Bulgarian, Serbian, German. One of the most beautiful thing in one of those maps is in my Iran map. When I gave to one of this girl who cycled with me, when I gave the map to her, asking her if she can sign something for me or write something for me, I didn't know she was an artist, and she took a while, but then when she gave this map, it was a beautiful dream catcher sketch, covering almost like 1/4 of the map on a corner. It was really beautiful, and she just wrote that and she said, "May all your dreams come true. This dream catcher is going to help you catch all those dreams and make it happen." Woke up, wanted to have an early start, thought I'll make it to Bratislava today, go down, bring the bike, notice that there's 2 flats on both tires. Come on, where are you? Yeah. So the biggest challenge for this trip has been the weather. Pretty much every country that I went through, it rained on. Not just like any rain, it's like freezing cold rain. And some days it was non-stop, 5 days, 6 days straight. Iran, supposed to be a fall weather, but when I was there, it rained pretty much every day, and Shiraz had a flash flood where like 49 people died. Turkey, I had like snowstorm, and my beard was covered in snow with icicles everywhere, and the temperature dropped to like -4. First 2 days and it's so tough and it's also really cold. Just gonna have some tea and wait. I mean, I have like a summer tent. I have like 3 pairs of clothes. There's no gloves, nothing. I just have like a light layered glove. You can't just be ready for all kinds of conditions. And coming into Slovakia and Hungary, freezing cold rain, 24/7. The drizzle constantly keeps falling. You just kind of give up, You are just soaked to the bone, no matter how many ponchos, how many layers you wear. Everything is wet at the end of the day. The worst thing happens, which is getting a flat and you having to fix it. Because without fixing a flat, you're not going anywhere. By the time I got to Vienna, I was sick for nearly like 4 days. and got this crazy viral infection where I couldn't sleep, had like crazy spike of high fever, cough, cold. Conditions like that really brings down to your knees, brings down to tears. And also it puts in a lot of fear into you, thinking what is going to happen about the mission if you are going to finish in the first place. But I was just thinking about all those people in those tough slavery conditions. They don't have a roof on top of their head, and even if they do, they're not getting fed, they're not getting a complete nutrition, and they are doing hard work all day. So when you think about all that, you know that what you're going through is nothing compared to a lot of people. We have more number of people in slavery than the transatlantic slavery days that we had in the past. It's estimated about over 40 million people in slavery currently. Almost 40% of them are into bonded labor slavery.
எனக்கு ஒரு 17 வயசு இருக்கும். அப்போ தான் வந்தேன். அங்கே அண்ணன் வந்தோடனே அவங்க என்ன சொன்னார்னா, ஓனர் கொஞ்ச நாள் இருந்து போட்டோம் உங்கள் தங்கச்சி அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு சொன்னார். எங்கள் அண்ணன் தான் சொல்லிச்சு, இல்லை போயிட்டோம் அப்படின்ச்சு. இல்லைப்பா கொஞ்ச நாள் இருந்துட்டு போட்டோம் அப்படின்னு சொன்னோடனே சரி இருக்கட்டும் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிச்சு எங்கள் அண்ணன். நானும் அங்கேயே இருக்க ஆரம்பித்தேன். ஒரு வாரம் ஆச்சு. திரும்ப நாங்கள் வீட்டுக்கு போகிறோன்னா உங்கள் அண்ணன் கடனை நீயும் சேர்த்து கட்டு அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டாங்க ஓனர். நாங்கள் கேட்டோம் ஒரு நாள், ஏன்னா இன்னுமானா எங்கள் கடன் அடியில் நாங்கள் எங்கள் வீட்டுக்கு போனோம், எங்களுக்குன்னு ஒரு வாழ்க்கை இப்படின்னு எங்களுக்கு வீடுன்னு வேணும் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு சொன்னோடனே அதெல்லாம் முடியாது, இதுங்காட்டி நீ பெரிய ஆள் ஆகிட்டியா கணக்கு கேட்குற அளவுக்கு, அதெல்லாம் முடியாது முடியாதே வேலை செய்யும், கணக்கு கேட்குற அளவுக்கு நீங்கள் படித்து இதுவாள் ஆகிட்டிங்களா அப்படின்னு சொன்னார்.
இருந்துட்டு அதுக்கப்புறம் ஆனால் பயந்துன்னு தான் வாழ்ந்துக்கணும். அந்த ஓனரால் நம்மளுக்கு என்ன பிரச்சனை வருமோன்ற ஒரு பயம் தான். அந்த பயத்துலேயே வாழ்ந்துக்கணும், அங்கேயும் மரம் வந்துக்குன்னு
சொல்ல ஒரு 4 பேர் என்ன பண்ணாங்க, கைனி வேலை போய் செஞ்சுட்டு எங்களால் வேலை செய்யலாம் முடியாது அப்படி சொல்லிட்டு எகுத்து பேசிட்டாங்க. செம்மையாக அடிக்கிறாரு அவங்கள, அந்த கலக்கா கொல்லிலே அடிக்கிறாரு. நாங்கள் எல்லாம் ஓடி போய் கேட்குறோம், ஏன்னா அதுமாரி எல்லாரையும் அடிக்கிற, என்னென்ன உங்களுக்கு பிரச்சனை அப்படின்னு சொல்லி கேட்ட மாரி எல்லாரும் எகுத்து பேசுனீங்க, மொத்த பேரும் என் ஜேசிபி வச்சு உங்கள் மொத்த பேரும் பழம் தோண்டி என் கைனோட படிச்சிருவேன் அப்படின்னு
சார் மேடம் தான் எங்களை கூட்டின்னு வந்து மறுவாக வச்சுருந்தாங்க. ஏன்னா அந்த ஓனர் அந்தமாரி ஆள் கையில் பாடினா போதும் அப்படின்னு. ஏன்னா அப்போயே ஓனர்லாம் ஃபோன் பண்ணி கூப்பிட்டாங்க இந்த மாதிரி அப்படின்றதுக்கு. அந்த ஓனர் வரவே இல்லை ஆர்டி ஆஃபீஸாண்ட. வரது நாங்கள் ஃபுல்லாக பயந்துட்டோம், நாங்கள் போக மாட்டோம், நாங்கள் எங்கே இருந்தாலும் எங்களை தேடி பிடிச்சி எங்களை கொண்டு போட்டுருவாங்க அப்படின்னு சொன்னதுக்கு அப்போ எங்களா கூட வந்துருங்க அப்படின்ட்டு மேடத்தில் வந்து எங்களை கொஞ்ச நாள் மெட்ராஸில் வச்சுருந்தாங்க.
You just don't treat the human as a human, right? I mean, this is like absolute slavery conditions. So yeah, I just took up that cause and wanted to, I don't know, fight and be the voice for all those people who don't have a voice for themselves, and get a lot of people together to raise awareness, because there's nothing that we can solve if we all join hands together, any problem in the world. The key is unexpected kindness. That's what made this journey the most memorable one for me. You're a guy on a tandem bicycle. Though you appear different, for different people you look very different. Long hair, there are days when I was 4 days past my last shower. You have like a long big beard. You look different. You look very different. But at no point they feel threatened in any way. And you really show a keen interest that you are listening. that you're really interested to know who is this person. And Yaz, and super nice guy, he's hosting us today.
I
for
could
the
say
night.
I'm half of Indian.
Yes,
well.
he's half Indian as well. So cheers, mate. Thank you. Because we are all different, you know, every one of us. We all have our dreams, hopes, passions, and all of us have gone through a lot in life. We didn't get here magically.
Görüşürüz.
Thank you.
Thank you. Allah'a emanet ol.
Allah'a emanet ol.
Eyvallah.
My mommy, daddy is gonna be. There's no magic here. The key thing is vulnerability. You are extremely vulnerable. And people, when they see vulnerability, they also make themselves vulnerable. And then, yeah, you are invited everywhere. All the very best.
Thank you very much and keep supporting.
I think that's what the modern society doesn't do, right? People don't make themselves vulnerable. They don't trust. And they always have a safeguard around them. They want to be protected. People always ask, how do you just trust a random person who invited you? I mean, look at me. They invited me first, so they made themselves vulnerable as well. So when you also take a chance and go, that's how the beauty of that amazing relationship forms. And the rest is just stories, you know, beautiful, beautiful human stories. Made it.
Bike for providing all those awesome films that we just got to watch. Margaret, you have a few words before I hit this raffle? I hear people are really excited about it.
Yeah, that was great. Thanks for joining us, and we hope to see you out riding soon.
All right. I won't let y'all wait any longer. So before we get the results, just so that everyone knows what's in this raffle bundle, again, a tune-up by our friend Black Cat Cyclery, one of these lovely reflective hats, well insulated, a multi-tool for tuning on the go, a patch kit, you know what you need those for, and the Get Lit box, which I should have in hindsight called the Get Lit kit, which includes bike lights and some fun other LED lights for when you join our lighted bike rides. Okay, the results are in. And the winner of our raffle is Jules Ginenthal. Give some love to Jules in the chat. I hope, Jules, that you're here watching. If you're not, you're going to get a nice email from us so you can come and pick up your kit. All right, folks, thank you for tuning in, and maybe we'll see you in August for another film fest, but we'll absolutely see you on May 1st for the Streets Alive Ithaca on the south side, Plain Street and Wood Street. Have a good evening.